And check out the Comic Outlaw on YouTube. Drop us a like, subscribe, and let us know what you like and what you don't like. But right now we're doing Fantastic Four, issue 6, and the Diabolical Duel join forces. Yep, it's Doctor Doom and Submariner back again for a little bit of revenge. And let's see how this all plays out. And who's really the good guy and who's really the bad guy in this. And you see the Human Torch flying above. And people, if you read the print, they actually mistake him for the Human Torch that I was talking about earlier, because there was a Human Torch in the 40s. It was actually an android, but people don't know the difference right now. And of course, people are getting bumped and moved to the side because the Invisible Girl is invisible, and she's kind of just knocking people aside, trying to get back to the Baxter Building. And basically, the Fantastic Four are just going about their lives. And this is a nice little picture of the Baxter Building, or at least what it was back in the day. And you gotta love the artwork of Jack Kirby and just the imagination of both these men, both Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, to just kind of create this little world within a world. And Reed Richards decides to say hi to a kid that's in the hospital, so he stretches on over, because it's in the building right next door, and basically just says hi, pops in, does a special guest appearance, and then pops back out. Now, of course, Thing and Johnny still be having their differences. They fight here and there. And, of course, everyone is wondering what Submariner's been doing. Well, he's been in the ocean, basically just straightening out his mind, getting his priorities right, ruling the seas until Dr. Doom pops in for a visit. Now, Doom kind of plays his hatred for mankind and his lust for Sue Storm to kind of get Submariner to listen to him. And, of course, Submariner takes him to his underwater fortress. And you gotta admit about both Submariner and Doom, these guys know how to pickle air. These guys know that if you're gonna roll, you gotta roll thick. Look at that lavish room. And so basically Doom lays out the plan a little bit. Namor says that he doesn't want Sue to get hurt, but and he's having second thoughts as well. But Doom brings up that the humans are destructive. They pollute his oceans. One day they might come and destroy everything that ever was in the sea. It basically pumps Submariner up, and he has this little device, this little grabber. You attach something to it, it extends a magnetic field, and it pulls it along. And so Submariner and Doom temporarily join forces in order to get the Fantastic Four. And Submariner is in this as long as Susan Storm doesn't get hurt. But this is Doom we're talking about. Doom always has other plans. And of course, Submariner lands in New York. He starts walking around, exploring, attracting the attention of basically New York as well as the Fantastic Four. I mean, the last time he was there, they actually got into a scrap. Now, Johnny finds a picture of Submariner stashed in Sue's things, and they start fighting over it. And of course, Johnny burns the picture, and everyone's wondering why she's harboring feelings for this guy. And just as they begin the discussion, guess who shows up? Submariner. And Thing wants to clobber this guy, of course. So does the Human Torch, but Susan protects him, telling everyone that he may have rolled over a new leaf. I love this. The Human Torch, he spins around, tries to melt the metal below him, falls down, but Submariner, of course, can fly. And this is back when their powers were temporary. They didn't have a mastery of their powers yet. So that literally blew out Human Torch's fire, which is interesting, and you don't see later on. And of course, they examine the building, they examine what's going on. Nothing's being triggered, but yet the building is being lifted off the ground. Lifted up in the air, the atmosphere, above the planes, above the stratosphere, zooming off into space. Doom had put that device in the building and is now using his ship and lifting the building up into outer space where there's no air, and dropping them off so they'll drift into the sun. And of course, Reed's coming up with a plan, but if you notice, it's Submariner that's taking care of Susan, putting oxygen on her, before she passes out. And Johnny decides to jump out and be a hero. His flame doesn't work so well without oxygen, Reed tries to reach back to Earth, which didn't work out for him too well. So he tries to reach out for Doom's ship that's a little bit ahead of the building, and he can't quite reach it. And just when he's about to, boom, he gets hit by a beam, ends up burning him. Now, Submariner and Thing have a little altercation, because Thing doesn't trust him and just wants to clobber somebody. But Submariner's kind of has a plan. He dives into the water. The water increases his strength, his power. It doubles. And he jumps out, leaps out like he was leaping out of the ocean. And he leaps towards Dr. Doom's plane. And he yells, "Go, go, go!" He hops from meteor to meteor, landing on Doom's ship. But Doom increases the gravity on his own ship and pulls Submariner down to it. But this isn't necessarily a bad thing for Submariner, because with his super strength he just rips his way in. And he tries to go for the door, but a big flash of electricity comes out and starts shocking him. And of course Doom is getting ready to let the ship go so it could drift off into the sun, but the beam of electricity starts hitting back at him. Little does he know that Submariner, like the electric eel, can absorb and rechannel energy. Shocking and burning Doom, he escapes out the hatch onto one of the meteors drifting into space, while they guide the building back to New York, back to safe harbor. And they remove the device, and they're left wondering if Submariner, the next time, will he be friend or foe, as he flies off, heading back to the ocean, dumping Doom's plane in the sea. We'll find out the next time. And this is the Comic Outlaw, and I'll catch you on the flip side.